If you're in an interview and the candidate is reading an AI generated response or script over a Zoom or a Teams interview, I would say you should end the interview right then and there and not waste your time going any further because they are making a conscious choice to not show up as their real self, and you're hiring their real self. Are they going to continue to read AI answers after you hire them? Is that the relationship that you're going to have with them? Is it going to be based on what AI tells them, or is it going to be based on what they actually think and how they actually act and how they actually operate and show up? Well, it's probably going to be based on who they really are. So if we don't get to see who that is in the interview, then we're working off of false information. One of the ways to tell if a candidate is using AI on a Zoom or a Teams call is if their eyes are continually dropping or they have unnatural pacing. If you're in an in-person interview and they've prepped with AI, you're gonna find that their answers are pretty vague and generic and surface level. If you're hiring for someone who needs to be in sales, they're going to talk about how they're good at building relationships and they're good at setting goals for themselves, but they're not going to give you specific details or stories of how they've actually done that in their past. And so I always say, like, you have to dig for specific examples. And if they can't give you them, then their answer is probably just manufactured. If you're unsure if a candidate is using AI or not, I think one of the best things to do is ask them questions that are outside of a work context. So if someone is naturally relationship driven, they're relationship driven inside and outside of work. And so we want to actually get outside of work and say, tell me how you build relationships outside of work. Tell me about relationships that you've had for a long time that have lasted. Why have they lasted that long? You know, what do you think about those types of relationships? Why is maintaining relationships long term important to you? So we're getting into a more personal context, and most candidates actually aren't prepared to answer those types of questions because so often in an interview process, all the questions are specific to work instead of being specific to how does a person operate and think. And that shows up in all areas of their life.